Hello, welcome to Satisfactory and our new series, Satisfactory Designs. We're going to be looking at art type things, design type things. And so I thought today we would start with the transfer grid. Just the process of a transfer grid, how it works, how to do it. Okay, so a transfer grid. What is a transfer grid in art? It's when you take a piece of art you want to duplicate and you draw a grid over it, and whatever ratio you use for that grid you also draw it on a blank sheet of paper and you just transfer it over square by square. So this we're just going to kind of run through exactly how to do that. Okay, now that we know what a transfer grid is, let's go over to a image editor program real quick. Okay, so now you want to open whatever image editor you use. I will be using the free software Gimp. It is what I use for my YouTube thumbnails. So go to File, New Image, and we will say 720 by 720. Next, open the image you want to copy. It will come up in its own spot. Click on the image, then hit Control C. Go back to your new file and Control V. The image is currently floating until you hit this green square, which finalizes the placement into the image. Next, we will enlarge it, which will rasterize it, but that is okay. We are only interested in shapes. So layer, scale layer, 600 height. Helpfully, the width and height are linked, so the ratios will stay the same when you change one of the two. We went with a square image to simulate the blueprint. That shape looks like it will fit in half of the blueprint, so roughly 16 by 32 meters. Click on the background layer and hit Edit, Fill, Foreground Color. So here's the main tip for using GIMP. Go to Filter, Render, Pattern, Grid. Choose a color, and we will fill it with blue. Whoops, that's the wrong layer. Go New Layer and place on top of the stack so it covers all layers. Pick a color, we will use red, then use the arrows for width and height until you get what you need. I'm using an 8x8 grid to simulate our designer. Our symbol will be drawn in the 4x8 area. We won't be drawing out the music, just the symbol. You know what? I will show you the second grid. So we just came in and we built a second grid. This can be helpful if you're going to get really fine details, something like the map, um, my prior 4 map episodes or whatever, just to show you the offset. So you can kind of come in here, and this looks like it's pretty close, but we want to offset X, offset Y, looks like -1, and so you can use those for minor adjustments. Then you come in here, change the width, real helpful, but we don't need that. Now you just save the file, you use it however you want. I usually just take a picture of it if I'm being lazy, and then just look at it on my phone. If you have a second screen, you can put it on your second screen, put it on iPad, whatever you need so that you can stare at it while you're drawing. And then it'll export as a PNG. I just use the default settings. And then that's getting ready and it'll print. And now we have this as our image. And we'll get started. Back to the game. Okay, so the design we have, it's a band, favorite punk band of all time, Hot Water Music. That's just their logo. I'm very familiar with it, so I thought I'd go with that because, you know, I could throw that up on one of my builds. And so yeah, what did we do in GIMP? We have a 2x4, so we need a 2x4 here so that it matches. You could use a lot of different backgrounds. You could do full frame window, concrete, or these panel windows, I think, are probably the best 3 options to use. For now, I'm going to start with this. So each square from our PNG file is equal to 1 by 2 of these. Just to differentiate, you can do something like this so you don't lose track. Okay, we're back in the game. Here's our 2x4, and I should have mentioned it in GIMP, but you can also, if it's easier, you can label. So Like across the top, there's 4, so you could say A, B, C, D, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you'd have, A1, D6, all of that. Um, it could be helpful. But yeah, so I'm just gonna, hopefully I can get the image superimposed. I'm not the best editor. And we'll just draw along for a minute. So this is 2 spots. So that makes this the 1 square. We're not going quite halfway down. Well, we don't have as many options as we'd like at this size. As you expand, you can always go bigger. We know this is on this point though, so let's start here. See what options we got. Oh, and pro tip, do not go outside of the boundary box. If it hangs out like that, if you have watched my map videos, that will destroy your blueprint in terms of re-putting it back in the blueprint and working on it. Simple enough across the bottom. Because we only have so many details to work with here. Alright, so up close it's a little choppy. See the little corners and everything like that. There's not much you can do with that at this size. That's why I tend to go bigger. That's why my map was much, much bigger. But from far, you definitely start to get the design. God, I just love this logo though. I think I need to redo it, but bigger. Alright, we're gonna redo this. We're going bigger. This is not accurate enough. Let's get some more curvature. But it'll be a good example to see how much better you can get on a different size. Render pattern grid. That is a full 1.5 blueprints. Okay, so this is my first attempt at a time lapse with timestamps if you want to skip it, or you can slow it down if you want to follow the method even closer for any reason. So this medium does need a fair bit of artistic freedom because of the 1 meter limitations. The one tip I would like to point out is at the top of the flame. Anytime you have something going into a point, and especially a curved point, the most important thing is a gradual thinning to the final point. Any failure to make it gradual and fluid is very obvious in the final product, so just be aware. The end result is more important than following the grid in these cases. And then just to fill the time lapse up, I'm just going to throw up some of the best songs from Hot Water if anyone's interested in checking out one of the best and most consistent punk bands for the past 28 years. 2 of the best lead voices in punk with an incredible rhythm section. They are worth checking out, I promise. And this probably wasn't enough time, so I'll just talk a little more. Stay tuned till the end. There is some cool examples. One of the tips here is to kind of use the negative space to shapes. You're really just looking at, say, this 1 square, right? So you have that little poking out. That goes to just outside that bottom corner. This is roughly towards the middle. All the way kind of up as round as we can get with this size, and then curving off. And same thing here, we're cutting off that little section there, and yeah, it's just copy and paste just like that all the way through. So I'm just going to finish this up, and I'll be back. Alright, so there you go with a 2x2. There you go with a 4x4. It's a little bit more accurate. So toggle mass dismantle, that's going to be your left control button. And then up here, toggle specified multi-select dismantle. That's Z. So you're actually going to hold Control and Z, and you can multi-select just one item. So holding Control, select everything you pick. Holding Control and holding Control and Z, now you're just selecting the first item that you selected, so only beams. Alright, now I'll throw the picture up. Picture looks like a 2x2, so we actually don't need this half. We can't really get roundness. You know, the bigger you go, the better you can approximate round shapes. Yeah, see my parabolas in the blueprint art episode. But you can approximate it, and from further away, it looks all right. So again, we're just staying. When we're reviewing our transfer grid, we're just looking at the single shape, the single square that we're working in. And just to note, when you are doing it, I mean, you can play around a little bit. You can kind of see as you're working if making a small adjustment from the grid is going to help make it better, and I'd say go for it. It's just a guide. Alright, so that's our first shape, and because it's basically a doubling of it, rather than look at the grid for the next one, I'm going to actually look at the just the pattern I've already designed. Alright, and we'll do it right here just so that you can kind of see the difference in quality from doing it in two different sizes. So we'll see. Sometimes there's a little bit of trouble connecting them, but we'll figure it out. Build mode R, so you have default and blueprint, so just play around. They're still working on it, but you can also, while you're in blueprint mode, you can press Control and it'll help you go by 1 meter increments. It's not too helpful because we're on a flat foundation right now, but it's very helpful when you start trying to add them on top of each other. Alright, we're just putting a platform there. See if it'll assist. It's definitely assisting. Alright, like I said, with the changing, with the control, we're holding control right now for that better placement. I believe that's it. Yeah, so there's your difference there. I mean, it's a pretty noticeable difference, right? I mean, the curve of the water and just the shape of the flame in general, you get a lot better. Oh, that one's mirrored, but you still see the quality in terms of the bigger you go, the better it is. So that's about it for the method. Yeah, I'll show you a couple more real quick, just to kind of show you what you can do. This is what I did to do my map. And you just delete all the stuff you used for placement. Yeah, there you go. You put some art on your wall or something, in your main base. And you can pick whatever you want. You don't have to do my favorite band. Do whatever you want. So yeah, here's a couple examples, and then that's it for our first art and design episode. Thanks. Okay, so just a few highlights of the map build. I mean, this is one grid. The blue crater quadrant. I'll throw up the map that I've copied this from. And then this is just another way you can do it, just to show you the kind of background. This was 1 meter walls and then colored, you know, 2 different colors back and forth. And so this is the one layer. And then behind it is the second layer, which holds the rivers. I might just do a small little addendum to this after I publish this one, just to kind of talk about multicolors and a couple of the issues that come up with that. But yeah, and then let me show you the final. All right, then yeah, this is the final. This took a lot. This took weeks to make, especially with the glitch that happened. You could see it in my older videos. There's 4 in a row, all about the map. But yeah, this is what got me started on the transfer grid, using the transfer grid in Satisfactory. All right, finally, here's one I've been working on in a Zero's server. Patreon to Zero and Real Silver Engineer, but this is Zero's Patreon, and this is just I took his logo, same as all the others, transfer grid method, just on a much bigger scale. But yeah, if you don't know Zero, you should check out his builds. He's got some pretty awesome skills. And just a note, I kind of made the back end of this building to do the almost like an optical illusion, but if you can see, the back ones line up with the X's right here and right here, kind of help define the shape of the building. Yep, transfer grids are a lot of fun. Thanks for watching.